Hello, welcome to the last part of our three-part How to Apply series. In our two previous videos, we've discussed the statement of purpose and the writing sample, so be sure to check those out if you haven't already. In this last video, Kate and Atia are back to provide some insight on the letters of recommendation portion of the application and choosing recommenders. Before we get started, my name is Jessica Cantos, and I am the editor of the HDS admissions blog. I'm actually an HDSE student in the higher education program, but I'm working with the admissions team this year. So I'll go ahead and pass it on to Kate.
Hey everyone, I'm Kate Hoding. I use she, her pronouns, and I'm a second year Master of Theological Studies student in the Women, Gender, and Sexuality area of focus. And I primarily study the intersections of reproductive health care and religion.
Hello, I'm Atia Bai. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm a first year Master of Divinity student, and I primarily study African and Afro-diasporic religions.
Thank you both so much. So this question is for both of you. How did you go about choosing your recommenders and reaching out to them?
So the three recommenders that I chose were all professors of mine at my undergrad when I was lucky enough to be attending my undergrad, because I went straight from undergrad to HDS. And so I was really trying to have conversations with them early in the fall semester about my plan to apply to divinity school, and then sort of worked up to being like, will you write my letter of recommendation? And in hindsight, that was a really good plan, because I think that it sort of, first of all, lowered my own nerves, because I know that asking for a rec letter can be kind of a nerve-wracking experience, because I already knew that they knew I was planning to apply. Also, I think because it was more of an ongoing conversation, they probably had a better ability to write specifically in their rec letters about why I was interested in attending divinity school.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a similar experience in applying to HDS, right, or a year after my undergrad. So I was still pretty fresh out, and I still had a lot of relationships with my professors there. So I was lucky enough to have two professors who were very willing to write my letters, and they kind of already had an idea that this was something I was interested in. And so that having that knowledge and that relationship sort of helped them to be able to write letters that were appropriate for me. But as a Master of Divinity student, I needed another letter of recommendation that spoke to my ministerial promise. And as I wasn't going into a particular ordination path or anything like that, I kind of had to get a little bit more creative and think about what I put in my statement of purpose and what it was I understood my ministry to be. And in doing that, I kind of came to asking one of my, a very important choir director in my musical background, if he would write my third letter. And I sent him my statement of purpose to kind of give him an idea of how I was framing my, my music in relation to ministry. And I think that kind of guided him and allowed him to write me a really good statement of purpose that got me here. So yeah.
Thank you both so much. So this second question is for Atia. Once your recommenders agree to write your recommendation, what information should an applicant provide to them?
Yeah, so like I said, I think you should share your statement of purpose. Like Kate said in one of the earlier videos, share your statement of purpose. It's nerve-wracking, but it's important. That'll give your recommenders a good idea of what it is that you want to do at HDS and how you're really understanding like how they can speak to skills that you're trying to present. And so, your statement of purpose gives an idea of all the skills that you've gathered throughout your experiences, and your recommenders are sort of people, mentors or supporters along the way who have helped you get to that point. And so having your statement of purpose be read by them kind of gives them an idea of how they're fitting into the story that is your application.
Thank you so much. And this last question is for Kate. What would you recommend for applicants who have been out of school for a while and are worried about being able to get an academic letter of recommendation?
First of all, I would say this is probably the number one thing that we get questions about in the Office of Admissions, which is people who are really worried because they're mid-career, they've been out of undergrad for a while, and so you're not alone at all in having this problem. First of all, I would recommend that you could try reaching out to old professors. You might be surprised if you provide them with sort of papers or like a short letter or whatever about what you got out of their classes, they might remember you more than you think. But then the second thing is that we definitely welcome you to submit rec letters that are from professionally related to your current career. And we have people do that all the time. So you're not alone at all. And if you have any other questions, you can reach out to our office.
Thank you. Both of you, Kay and Atia, thank you again so much for sharing your experience and advice. We hope this video series has made the application just a little less stressful. If you're applying this cycle, we do hope that you've already reached out to your recommenders, but if you haven't, please do so as soon as you can. It's always best to give your recommenders ample time to write those recommendations. It's also your responsibility to inform your recommenders of the application deadline and follow up with reminders. You can submit your application before your recommenders have submitted their letters of recommendation, but make sure you keep on checking the status of your application materials to make sure that your recommenders submit them on time. If they have any issues submitting your recommendation, they can reach out to us directly by emailing admissions@hds.harvard.edu. We hope this video series has been helpful to you in the application process. To further assist you, we'll provide some links below of recorded sessions and panels on topics that cover student experiences, community at HDS, and application best practices. While we can't tell you exactly what you should do or include in your application, we are confident that you'll be able to use the tools we've provided along with your best judgment in crafting a great application. Our team wishes you the best of luck.